All right. We should be live.
Is this it,
supposedly.
man? Are we live?
Hello, chats, peoples. Let us know if you can hear us.
Hey, what is up, y'all? How we doing? Don't mind me. I'm just doing what we want all you guys to do. Like, share, subscribe. Make sure we get this all out there. Come on, Manny. Hit us with the intro, bro.
Yo. What is up, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Manny. I got with me
Andrison,
Andreessen, Andy, any of the above.
Call me what you want.
Welcome to Reform Nerd, where we find Jesus in everything, especially anime.
That's
How
right.
was that? That wasn't bad. That wasn't too bad.
Yeah. Although we're not looking for Jesus in like food or stuff.
I mean,
like
we
that.
could. You know, there's like Jesus bread and stuff. Like,
I mean, you could try, yeah. But we're not looking for the physical figure at this point right now.
Yo, so check it out. Today, we're going to be talking about friendships. We're going to be looking at some anime. We're going to be looking at one of the greatest friendships in the Bible, David and Jonathan. So we're going to be digging into that. We're going to be looking at some videos, both that Andrison has dug up and I have dug up, that really showcase how there are people that don't got friends, man. And we're going to be highlighting the importance of not only having friends, but having the right type of friends.
You know, it's like anything else. We're all going through a lot of different situations in life, so it's always good to have the right people around you. So if you don't know how to have the right people around you, you're on the right episode today.
Yes, sir. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it looks like we got some peoples on, which is good to see. Let me check the chat.
We appreciate y'all.
Can you bring up? Is it here? All right.
Yeah, right there.
It's not showing anybody though. Look. No, I mean here.
I mean, I think it takes a little bit for that to catch up.
Anyways, all right, guys. So I think that what we'll do first is do the anime example.
Yeah.
And forgive me, guys, because, you know, all my examples are One Piece because I'm still catching up. I'm catching up. So that's kind of like the anime that's on my mind lately.
It's all good.
So
I bring some variety.
Yeah, Andrison brings the other whack animes that are
This
out there.
dude said other whack anime.
Like,
You're crazy.
like My Hero Academia,
Bro,
garbage.
Listen, I love My Hero. But that's not today's topic.
All right, so check this out. We're going to go over what I believe is one of the greatest friends that you can have in anime history, and that is my boy, Luffy. For those of you who don't know how he looks like.
Really? Luffy
That's
is
him.
The greatest?
Bro, he will die for his friends. And he befriends...
But has he actually died for his friends?
No, because he
Goku has. I'm just saying Goku has.
No. Goku died for his son and for the world. But anyways, what I like about Luffy is that, you know, he's since the way that Goku doesn't make friends like Luffy makes friends, in the sense of, you know, a lot of the times Goku just like fights an evil guy and somehow later they become friends. Somehow it's just like it kind of happens. But anytime Luffy meets somebody that's down and out, everybody in his crew in some way, shape, or form was either saved or held by Luffy and ultimately become his friends and become part of the crew because of who he is as a person.
Yeah. So
here we have, I'm going to have to skip a little bit for copyrights, but we have Nami. And Nami is like a slave to like these fish people.
Oh, yeah, this is like
Luffy,
first season.
Look at that.
help me.
And Luffy has like no business in this fight. And yet he's like, you know what? I'm going to hook you up. He goes in and he beats up this guy, gets her freed. Gets her entire family freed, and then she joins his crew. Then we have our boy Usopp.
Usopp.
Usopp is a liar, and ultimately with him is something similar. You have a bad guy that comes in, threatens his love interest, and Luffy and his crew help him out, and then at the end of the day, he ends up joining his crew as well. So everybody in his crew is like a friend of his.
Was he another simp that we should have used last week?
No.
Okay.
He's just a liar. He's just a big liar. We got Sanji as well. Sanji Sanji's is a little bit different, but he does join Luffy's crew because he wants to find the Old Blue, which is like a place where you can get like all sea creatures and stuff. Okay. Then there's this Chopper. He's like a doctor. He's
what is he?
A reindeer.
Okay, he's a reindeer.
Yeah, he's a reindeer.
Okay.
He's been ostracized by people. He thinks everybody's afraid of him. And Luffy comes in. He's basically like, I don't care what you are, what you look like. Come and join my crew. And he joins them.
Join your crew.
I mean, I can't talk.
You hear that? Hear that? I can't be your friend.
I can't be your friend or join your crew. Shut up. Let's go.
After that, Mr.
You gotta love anime, man, just for the crap that
So basically,
people come up with.
that's how he makes all his friends. He just tells them to shut up and to join his crew.
Okay.
So, long and short, what the example that we see from Luffy is of a character that is willing to put his life on the line for his friends. And Bible verse for you. I won't be able to quote it exactly, but Jesus said, "What greater love than this for someone to give their life?" Damn, I'm screwing it up so bad. I'm ashamed of myself.
It's all good, man.
What
There's just thousands of Bible
greater
verses, bro.
love there is than to verse? I don't want to mess. I started quoting and I'm like, this is terrible.
John 15:3.
Greater love has no one than this, that someone laid down his life for his friends. There's no greater love than to lay down one's life for one's friends. So this, my friend, is the example that we have for you today. Although I think you had...
I have a complete opposite example, bro, because this is right of a true friend, and we're talking about like fake friends. So, like I said, right?
Oh, wait, before you go.
Okay.
Danielle did mention in the chat Robin. Yes. Robin comes in because they're basically doing like a recap. Robin's story is also pretty cool because basically Luffy is like, she's trapped. She's kind of giving up on life.
Yeah.
The one interesting thing about Luffy, and I'm kind of nerding out a little bit, is that he won't help you unless you recognize that you need help. It's kind of like Jesus in a way. Like, he won't just go in and like save you. It's like, look, I'm here and I'm willing to help you, but you gotta want the help.
I now understand why you like Luffy so much. Because that's you.
What do you mean?
That is you, dude. You're like, I am willing to help if you want the help. I'm not gonna go and just give you the help. Like, you gotta ask for the help for me to help you. Well, that is you, dude.
Well, I'm a gentleman, you know. I'm not gonna force you into anything you don't want to. Yeah. But yeah, thanks for the shout out, Janelle. That's really a good one because he basically, in that scene, she's like, "I want to live," and she screams it out, and then Luffy goes in, and it's actually one of the greatest fights I think still today in One Piece, and it was like is in the early 2000s that it happened. I gotta show you that fight.
Yeah, show me that.
But
fight.
you had a completely different example.
Yeah, because I thought we were talking about fake friends, so I went the complete opposite route.
The real friends, you show the fake friends.
I went the complete opposite.
Because I'm a real friend and you're a
So I'm gonna talk about one of my favorite shows, Bleach. Right? We're gonna talk about Aizen, Sasuke Aizen.
Should I bring some pictures?
Yes, bring them up.
I'll help you out. So Bleach.
Yep.
And then just his last name.
Zen.
Sounds crappy already.
No, Aizen. This is like one of the greatest villains in the entire Bleach series. Like, he's still relevant even with the new 1,000-year blood arc. But this dude originally worked with the Gote 13. So pretty much this is like Heaven. He was part of like the Heaven like warrior squad. And this dude was, you know, he's a part of like the strongest like 13 members. He was over doing his thing, and he actually frames himself on being killed. So before it all develops and he turns into a villain, he was like the most beloved guy in the whole team. Everybody thought he was kind of weak because of how nice he was.
Because he has glasses.
Exactly. But this dude was an actual dirtbag, man. Because he goes as far as deceiving everybody on the Gote 13, deceiving his lieutenant, who some people even believe that she was in love with him, Momo. She's like this like little girl.
Is she on here somewhere?
No, she's actually not on there.
No.
Okay. Just if you just type in Momo right afterwards, it'll pop up because MOMO. Yep. So like you see this girl, man, like this sweet little girl's like his lieutenant. he makes her think that the dude right here, the dude with the blue, killed him, and like they're lifelong friends. Like this dude had like deceit, like how Danielle has it on the comments. Like this dude is, dude, no. The depths of deception and like how far it's just amazing. It's amazing story writing.
So why is he a fake friend?
Because he convinced everybody to think that he was on their side when in reality he was preparing to do like a whole upscale war. Like he goes from killing the quote unquote bad guys in the show to joining them and making them a part of his army so he can take over the entire world and essentially become God.
Do you think like, so random question, do you think like people in real life encounter, like obviously these are like animes, but like do you think like people encounter friends that are like that nutty, like
100%,
like they're purposely like
110%
trying to like ruin your life in a way? I don't know, man. I've seen it in shows. I've never seen it in real life or heard stories of it in real life.
You're not gonna have a lot of encounters with it. I mean, right?
Have you?
Not to the extent.
Has anybody in the chat?
I know, right?
The 7 people watching, let us know.
Hey, as it grows, but no, I've never had something to the extent where
If it were to happen, it's probably a woman.
Nah, there'd be some trifling dudes out there too, bro. There'd be some dudes out there.
So
man.
you were saying?
I've had some stuff where it's like, past relationships just kind of turned into like a whole thing, and it was nutty, but never to the extent where it's like they're planning my complete and total downfall with every move. Like that's a force too. But there are people that are that evil, man. There are.
Facts. I would say that.
I mean, think about it. Like, this is just like when we talk about fake people, right? Like, real recognize real. Like, we have people that we interact with that play a persona as they deal with us, as they talk with us, just to kind of like play that part. But maybe in reality, they may not like us. Like, there are people that hate to see others win if it's not them. That's just pure reality. Or like even people who just use you just to use you. Like, we're talking about David and Jonathan. We're about to get into it. But I think about, like, David and Saul. Saul only liked David because he would help him control the demons. But, when David was anointed to be king, Saul hated him and wanted to kill him. When David would progress, Saul would want to destroy him.
All right, so since you brought up David, so Saul is actually Jonathan's dad.
Which makes this even, like, crazier.
So, David is the guy that fought the big giant Goliath, right? I'm sure you guys are familiar with that. Let me just put David versus
Goliath.
Right?
Goliath is believed to be a Nephilim, but that's not necessarily...
Yo, that explicit. David is kind of too brolic, bro.
Yo, hey, man, the fact that David could take down a lion and a bear, I would expect him to be that brolic. Absolutely.
Maybe he was just anointed by God and didn't need any muscles.
That too.
You never know.
That too, but God also prepares us, bro. Just saying.
But yeah, so David is the guy that fucked Goliath. So a lot of you probably just know that part of the story, right? What happens afterward is
Read your Bibles.
What happens afterwards is that David gains a ton of popularity, right? And over the years, people start liking David more than Saul.
Yeah.
Which doesn't sit well with the king.
Absolutely.
So then starts this like jealousy. Saul starts wanting to kill David. And there's this back of... He actually attempts to kill him like 2 or 3 times.
A couple of times. He threw a spear at him. He's called armies to chase after him. He's tried to kill him a couple of times.
In between this, you have David and Jonathan, who are great friends. So you have this family feud in a way, and then you have David and Jonathan. And there's a point where like David doesn't know if like Jonathan is for him or against him.
They're brother-in-laws too, right?
Oh yeah, because Saul gave him one of his daughters. Yeah, so they are like family as well.
Legit.
So hey, look, brother-in-laws. So there's actually a point. One of the stories is that Jonathan shoots an arrow. What is it with a message? I forget. No.
The shooting of the arrow was the message. If he was to shoot it from a specific area, that means run away, don't come
run
back.
away, don't come because my dad wants to kill you.
Exactly.
So, in amongst all this stuff, we see that Jonathan and David keep their friendships to the point where they make a promise, a lifelong promise where they promise to take care of each other and their descendants. And we actually see, and this is what's impactful about this relationship, is that we see this carried out even after Jonathan dies. So what happens is that Jonathan and his dad die in battle. And later on in the story, David way later on, right? David has been king for several years. He finds out that there is still a relative of Jonathan alive. And back in that day, if you became king, what you would do is that you would destroy any relatives of the old king. Why? Because obviously you don't want anybody coming after you and killing you in your sleep.
No insurrections, nothing like that.
So you would go out and you would kill everybody that was part of that family.
Yep.
So David goes against all of this, and he hears about Jonathan's relative. And what he does is that he restores him. He takes care of him. The dude is like, he's
paralyzed.
He's paralyzed, so he can't even walk.
Yeah.
So David, even after his friend dies, and against culture, he honors this promise that he made to his friend, and takes care of his family even after he's gone. So I did a class about this way back, talking about friendship. But the thing that about this, about David and Jonathan that's impactful is that the trust that Jonathan had, that David, even if the tradition was for the king to destroy the family, because he knew, he had trust that David was God's anointed and that he would eventually be king. He trusted that David would deal fairly with him and his family. And then the question that I posed the class at that time is, how many people that you call your friends are considered the kind of friend that David was? Like, would you trust your friend with your family if you were to die?
That's a tough question, man. Just because, you're giving up one of the most intimate things, if you were to pass away, to somebody else, and trusting and hoping that they're going to take care of it. And that's really like, it's funny because it brings me a lot to the conversations we've had, like with our wives and stuff, and how I've always been kind of more of like very open to having people and being betrayed and stuff like that. It does make me think of like, how many friends could I really say are like Jonathan or like David, right? Like, how many people that can I truly say I trust, with access to like my house or whatever the case may be, and that I know everything's still going to be there and nothing's going to get lost.
And that they're going to look after like your family's best interest at the end of the day. Exactly. And that's real. Like, when you think of a friend, what do you think about?
Yeah, it really forces us.
What do you consider a friend?
Well, a friend is not a yes man.
True.
You get me? Like, a true friend is not going to tell you yes for everything. A true friend's going to tell you, hey, what you're planning on doing is pretty stupid. You probably should not do that. Because then if not, then you get like kind of like the friends on like that video I sent you, where you got two guys working together, and then it just all goes downhill from there.
What was that your cue? Do you wanna?
Let's go for it.
You wanna look at the video?
So real quick,
Anderson's cueing me.
Hide your kids, hide your wives.
All right, so Anderson likes to watch raunchy videos on YouTube.
Oh my lord, here we go.
So there's a little bit of swearing in this video, so be forewarned. If you're super sensitive to that stuff, come back in like a few minutes. But we're gonna be playing.
Come back in 40 seconds.
Yeah, we'll play this and then we'll talk about it.
Probably put at one point.
Do you want to
background?
Yeah, give a little background.
So we're watching a reaction of Abba and Preach, and their reaction to Hassan and Hihi. So Hassan is a dude on the left of your screen, super woke, all this other stuff. These guys used to work together. Hihi is on the right in the khaki sweater, and apparently
that's his name.
That's like his YouTuber thing, I think.
Oh,
that's why it's like H3H3. So long story short,
I thought like the title was like Hihi.
No. That's his title. Yeah, that's like his thing. So these are both independent YouTubers that have gotten big in the woke sphere stuff. And the dude on the left, like, just started going ham on the dude on the right, like making fun of him, his wife, like his followers were like destroying his family online, and the dude was just like, "Yeah, it's cool. You can I can watch it." So these guys were doing a podcast together, and they even stopped. That's how bad it got. Like, these guys were just like going, they started going at each other. And so Auburn Preach kind of just mentioned it real quick, and I I think it's interesting, like people that we think we work with sometimes, or people that we give access to quickly, kind of backstab us, right?
It's just mad enough to make assumption about what we're doing and make assumption about what we're saying without watching video.
I think what happened was he found out the homie that was gassing him, Hassan, is actually like a giant piece of shit that was sending people at his community after his wife and him. And then he said, you know what? These guys were right about because they cut the podcast. You know they stopped doing the podcast.
Of course, because he's Jewish, right?
Oh, and Hassan's community was like, that mustache man wasn't so bad. They was wilding on him.
Yeah.
They had cartoons of his wife just mowing down Palestinians. Like they was posting crazy shit. Ethan was breaking down crying, and Hassan was just like, I don't give a shit. And I'm sitting in the back like, you thought we was the piece of shit?
A Michael Jackson song, and we.
So just imagine that, dude. People are like making fun of your family online. Like, this guy has the power to stop all this, and he's like, nah, it's fine, it's cool.
Yeah, I mean, here's a question. And maybe I'll ask you and then I'll answer myself, because I don't have a lot of friend guys, like, and proudly so. How do you gauge when you have a real friend?
So for me, it's changed a lot, because before, how I used to view it was when I would spend a lot of time with the person. Because I've actually had people that I've spent a lot of time with completely backstab me. Like, stolen property, stolen money off of me. Like, I had to go through that whole loop.
Jeez. And
this was a person that I spent a lot of time with. Like, every day. So it really is it's tough to say, but it really depends a lot on the person's character. Like, what do you know of the person? A lot of it is not being so trusting, because here was my issue. I was too trusting way too early in this, right? Like, I knew the person for about 2 years, but that's sometimes not even enough time. Like, it really depends on like how you vibe with the person. Can you connect with them? Then from there, really, who they are outside of the relationship that you have with them. Like, if you know this person is constantly causing trouble or stuff like that, then like, is this really somebody that you want to build with? These are like some of the things that we have to take in consideration. It can't just be the interaction you have with them, but what is everything else around them? What are they about? What do they do? What do they spend the time with? Is this somebody that your mom was going to be okay with you hanging out with? Hey, it's true, right? Like, obviously, we're grown adults, and we're not going to take it to that extreme, but like, do you think your mom would be proud of you hanging out with this person, with the things that they do outside? If you were to find out, if your mom was to find out?
Yeah, I mean, like, for me, personally, I don't know, man. I've always been very protective of the effort and energy that I spend on people.
Yeah, for sure.
And because of that, like, it's very tough, and whether good or not, it's very tough for me to say, like, okay, like, this person is like a friend. You know what I mean? I would consider you a friend, or I would start like really trusting you with anything that's personal. Yeah. And like, Gabe is
he's a true friend.
He is a friend, but for a long time, like, it was more like he wanted to be your friends. I mean, you know how you are, so you were like his buddy, like, real quick. But for me, it was like, I don't know. Like, I kind of knew him, but not really. And it took a long time for me. Like, you know what? I think, like, at this point, I would consider this person a friend. But it was like, it's almost like a trial period for me. And I don't even know, like, I don't know if that's a good thing or not. But it's just like, you got to think about it, man. You only have so much time in your day. And once you get older, look, I got a couple of kids. I got a wife. And I'm in ministry, I got my job, I got all of these things going on. Mm-hmm. So for me to, like, if I'm a friend to you, like, I'm a friend. Like, I'm going to be there, whatever's going on. If you need advice, if you need help, like, I'm there. Like, I'm a real friend. So for me to dedicate that time, it's almost like I need to make sure that I'm not just going to waste my time, or I'm going to take away time from my kids, from my wife, from other things that now I have to give to you. Because think about it, you only have 24 hours. So you're not necessarily generating more time. You're like taking time from different places to then place it in other people.
Hopefully out of those 24, 8 of it is sleeping. For the
Yeah,
parents
more like
on
6.
here, yeah, for the parents here, it's like 5.
More like 5 or 6.
No, I mean, I definitely hear what you're saying. And this is a thing where it's like, you know, it's like the Christian walk, right? It's about faith at the same point. You know, you can vet somebody as much as you want, but there is also that understanding that person may fail you. It's like how I tell my wife, right? My wife is one of my best friends, and we always say this to each other. Even when we first
Your
got
wife
married.
is your friend?
Absolutely.
My wife is not my friend. She's my wife.
It's one of the many faces that my wife has, right?
Yeah.
But it's like there may be a point that I may mess up and fail, and maybe this should be next week's episode. But in this whole spectrum of fake friends and all these different things, where does forgiveness play a role?
Like in friends?
Yeah, like in friends. Period.
I don't have friends I gotta forgive.
So you're best friends with Jesus then, bro. You're best friends with Jesus then. I'm just saying. But like that's something that I think we really should take in consideration. And kind of like how you said, I don't think there's nothing necessarily wrong with the vetting period.
Yeah.
I don't think it should be 3 years, but I mean, there definitely should be a little bit of time with the vetting. But always at the same point, having in the back of your mind, like, hey, there's a potential chance that this person might mess up. Am I going to be willing to forgive them?
Messing up in what ways? Like, I don't know. Like, I feel like all this like friend drama and stuff, I feel like that's like so foreign to me personally that like I don't have like these like, hey man, like, I don't know, like I did you dirty and something, like nothing like I'm a very harsh person, so the most that I've had to like apologize for is that maybe I said something and I said it like in a harsher way where I could have been like a little bit more what's the word I'm looking for?
You could have been a little bit more loving.
More loving, like
that could be something
my
that
phrasing.
could hurt somebody.
Right. But like
that's what I mean.
The stuff that I think about when you're talking, I'm thinking about like some drama crap, like the stuff that you see where like somebody does you dirty or that dude stealing your clothes, you know what I mean? Like I've never had to experience that, but I think that's just because like I don't have that many friends, and for me to consider you a friend, like I would have to really know you. So like at the level of the friends that I have, it's never been a somebody screwed me over in some way or stole money from me. Like it's never been like that.
Well, I mean, in that case, right? Like you can have something like that happen, and it's healthy for you to cut the person off, right? Like. Yeah. Like, it's important that we recognize, guys, that I'm not also saying that, like, all right, well, you just got to forgive everybody all the time and just continue with it, right? You can forgive somebody, but you can also get to the point where you recognize that this relationship is not healthy and it needs to be cut off.
Yeah.
Right? That's kind of more of a given. I mean more of kind of like how you're saying, like, for some people, if you speak in a specific way, it may hurt them. That's just a reality of the situation. Not everybody can internalize things as well as others. Sure. Or maybe they've had their own trauma or stuff like that where it hurts them. It's in those type of situations where maybe there's growth on both sides.
Should we as Christians go about making friends different than other people? What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, well, how do other people make friends? Like I instantly think about.
I don't know, like, is there criteria that we should have to call somebody a friend or to have friendships? What are your thoughts?
I think it's tough, man. I mean,
like, can you be friends with a person that's like an unbeliever, like a real friend?
I believe so. Absolutely. I have one person in my mind right now that, I mean, him and I, we've known each other for years, and we've seen some crap together. I think it definitely is possible. I do believe God allows us to be friends because, I mean, how else can we witness at the same point? Whether if it's physically or whether it's the way that we live our lives.
Well, the question is it a David and Jonathan type of friendship?
I think it's still possible. I think it is still possible, yeah.
And this is not like discussed in the Bible to that extent, right? As we're talking about it, I'm thinking about it. Oh,
I mean, Eli brings up a good point, right? Like Eli in the chat just said right there, you are the light of that friend.
I'm thinking of like friends, and like for me there's like Are there like levels to friendships? You know, like
Yeah, I would say that there's definitely
acquaintances. I have acquaintances and I have friends. Like I got,
No, I get
know,
you.
like
Like I got for example, like I'm a part of a car group chat. I'm a real big car guy.
and those are all your friends.
Well, those are my car friends, right? Like there's one guy there that I'm actually no, I lie. There's two guys in the group chat that I've known since high school. So we actually go back a bit. But in a lot of the instances that we've hung out has been mainly with car stuff. So when it comes to the car type of situations, you know, those are the guys that I chill with. But, you know, still good friends. Like if one of them has a kid and stuff like that, we're going to get together. Like it all depends on the situation. Like you know, when you have certain friends, you also understand the dynamics of that relationship. Like I got a really good friend of mine who is a business owner. He's doing his thing, and I understand that. I understand that he's on grind mode. And I'm not going to be beating him up all the time like, oh, we can't hang out and stuff, blah, blah, blah. It's like the dude's about his money right now, and he's trying to get his position to go.
You don't want to be a needy friend?
No, it's not being a needy friend.
That's not you, Ali. You're not on your business. What are you talking about?
I think it's more recognizing that, you know, and this is like the thing about that also separates you from being a fake friend and a real friend is recognizing where other people are in their lives. And, you know,
True.
Sometimes you can be a hindrance. And I don't think I'm a hindrance to the brother, but I do know that he's got a lot going on. And like how you said, right? You can only pull so many time out off of some, you know, for so many, you can only pull so many hours out of a day between family, friends, business, all these different things. It's just recognizing that, yo, you're there, you're doing your thing. I'll send you a message. Hey, still here, still loving you, still praying for you.
Still waiting for you to call me back.
No, but I think that's a real big thing with that because again, going back to David and Jonathan, like right before these guys talked about the whole arrow shooting, like how you said, that was like the last time they would see each other. And from that point on, like David still had in his mind that, yo, this guy is still my friend. I'm still going to keep that promise. Like we're talking 30 years later, he's still keeping a promise that he made to his friend back then. You know, true friends are going to recognize that there's going to be seasons where you can't hang out as much, and that's going to be okay. You know, you pick up and you go from there.
Fair enough. So we got one more video for you guys, and then a couple of verses, and we'll be done with tonight. So this is a 25-year-old woman that has never had a friend.
I'm scared already.
In my apartment at my desk staring at my computer. Like 99.999% of every other Saturday. And I went to get a pizza because I still don't know how to eat right. And, you know, Dartmouth is graduated or graduating, and this always happens when I drive in on the weekend to get my unhealthy food that I eat alone in my apartment. And I see all of them holding hands, walking down to the river to swim, sitting out on the green with friends, or going back to their dorm so they can probably do stuff later because it's a Saturday. And I get my pizza, and I go back to my apartment because I don't have any friends. And honestly, I don't think I've ever had friends, not like real friends. I mean, obviously I had like friends in high school and college, but it was the most superficial level. If I was in class, I would have people to talk to. People liked me. I don't think I was a totally unlikable person. And I would do after school activities and people would talk to me and I had people that I was close to. But we never did anything besides that. I never did anything after school in high school. If I did, it was rare. Like the times, like prom, Mom had to ask a friend's son to ask me, and then he left early with another girl, which at the time I thought was hilarious. Because I could tell a story to my friends, and maybe that would be interesting. I'll see him on Instagram, but we've never hung out with any of my friends from high school. Same thing with college. I mean, it started senior year, but, you know, like, the second people started doing stuff on the weekends, I was always alone in my dorm room, watching all the other kids walk to the parties. I've never had a friend that I would just spend time with and tell everything to. I really thought I got close with Caitlin and Molly and Katrina and Aaron. And it's been 2 years. I haven't made a single friend. And there was a girl.
My question is, where is Aaron and Katrina? Yo, they better like
This breaks my heart.
Man up.
This breaks my heart, dude, because this is a
Yeah,
reality
it's-
for a lot of people right now.
I mean, I get her point. Like, I don't think, like, I made friends in college, and definitely there were people that I hang out with, and even today, like, I talk to some of them, but I would call them like I said, like,
Acquaintances.
well, yeah, like for me, like a real friend is somebody that like I'm living life with in a way. You know what I'm saying? Even if like I don't talk to you in a month or two, like we're still like thinking, thinking of each other, our families, and then when we get together, we catch up because whatever time and everything else like that.
Yeah.
But I don't think I have much of that necessarily from college. In high school, I have two good friends that I gained in high school. But college, I don't. For me, college was
A blur.
well, the relationships were more transitory. I would say.
Yeah, for sure.
But man, I feel like this girl needs to find a church, man, and some people that will pour into her and love her and just spend time with her.
This is the reality, man, of what we have facing right now, because a lot of people are having difficulty in creating these human connections. This is why Manny and I talk about going to church. It's not so much of the dogma aspect of, you need to go to church, right? Like obviously Jesus calls us to congregate with other brothers and sisters, but there is a community aspect of it as well that you're able to build. You're able to meet with people who might be going through similar situations as you, and you're able to go through and kind of break out of the superficial stuff if you're willing to be vulnerable, right? Because like I think about this girl, like, I mean, it breaks my heart to see this. It's just like, was she vulnerable? At the same point, like, no, we got to think about certain friendships that we may have where if it's really superficial, like, it's not going to grow because there's no dirt, for lack of better terms. There's no way that the roots can kind of like dig into the ground and really build off of it. If everything is really at a superficial level, I got to ask you, why? Why are you being superficial?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, man. There's a lot of people that are. She doesn't sound to me like she's socially awkward or anything like
She
that.
doesn't. It just sounds like things are very superficial.
It just sounds like the people that she was around just didn't care deeply about her, right?
Possibly.
To stay in touch, to want to hang out with her. And I mean, we've all, like, I think back to high school. There were people that I, like, wanted, quote unquote, to hang out with and maybe hung out once, but there was never, like, anything that developed. And I don't know what her friendships looked like, but it could have been a lot of, just hanging out, which is what she says. And there wasn't any real, like, deeper connection. And, it gets me thinking about two things.
What are they?
One, how do you find friends? And two, how do you make those types of friends that are long lasting? Like, I'm thinking about, like, in her situation at the moment.
Yeah.
Her getting pizza and going to her room is obviously not gonna get her any closer to having friends. Like, you need to pick up a hobby, join a couple of clubs, even go grab coffee for like a week at the same spot. Eventually the person that works that shift, you never know, like, maybe you'll start up a conversation and, from there, maybe, hey, I'm going to whatever, you want to come? There's different ways that you can start building relationships. To me, one of the easiest way to do it is to find a church, because, like, you go to any church and people are just hungry to meet you. Oh, a new person. Hey, how you doing?
Yeah.
How can we serve you, etc. So for me, one of the easiest ways to build relationships and to build community is at a church. Does it always happen? No, but it should, right?
Yeah. I think it's just important with the whole church thing, right? It's important to recognize that there's going to be fake people at church too. This is why, we don't necessarily push down the whole idea of vetting, because, in the church, it's like a hospital. You got sick people going there. You got broken people going. So it's just important that as you go, you build with people, you kind of vet them off, and then from there you can see how you can actually go and be this vulnerable.
Yeah, and I think that's the second point that I want to get into.
Yeah.
And I think that makes a lot of sense. It's like, all right, now you have some people that maybe you hang out with from time to time, etc.
Yeah.
right? From there, you got to think of the perspective, okay, who are the people that I enjoy, like, truly spending time with? Like, we could just sit there, watch a show, and we'll be cool. Or you can just go for a walk and you'll have fun. Like, those are the people that will probably end up being a longer-term friends, where you don't necessarily need, like, a third thing in order to help pass the time, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That makes sense.
And then from there, like we're talking about you, right, as a person, like, you are looking for friends. Then you start maybe sharing one or two things. And it doesn't have to be so deep, but deep enough where it's not surface level anymore. And now what you got to watch for and you got to think through is like, okay, how are they reacting to this thing that I just shared? You know, is their input valuable? Is it something that's dragging me down? Are they just happy to see me fail, or are they helping me try? Are they helping me succeed, right? Are they pushing me in the right direction? And also, are they now willing to be vulnerable at the same time? And you start vetting, and it's almost like a dance in a way. Like you start kind of vetting that stuff out. And then eventually, after enough non-surface level things that are being shared, then you build yourself a long-term friends. And then after that, you got to honestly put in some time. You got to dedicate some time from both sides where you're now deepening this relationship.
And then on the flip side, what happens is when you don't put in the time, you get kind of stuck in that point of when you were friends, and then it unfortunately goes away. Like, I've had really, really, really close friends, you know, from high school, and life just happens. You kind of get pulled away, and that closest that you have there is no longer there, right? It almost feels like, wow, like this person kind of feels like a stranger again. But you remember the good times. And I think it's important that we recognize, too, that not every friendship is going to be for the rest of your life. I think it's important to recognize and know that things are going to be for a season.
Yeah.
Some seasons are longer than other, and some of them might be forever. Yep. Like in our point, we're kind of stuck with each other for the rest of our lives. There's no way to gain out of that one.
Tell me about it.
But, you know, it's okay. And I think it's important that we all kind of like recognize that. Whether if we reach out to those old friends or not, those memories are great. If they're able to be recreated or new ones are able to be created, that's awesome. But I think it is important to recognize that maybe God had that for a certain time in your life. And that's okay. And if you move on, you know, you think back to the old days, you touch base with that person, but it can't always be trying to seek for that high that you used to get to.
So Leah has a point. You want to read it?
Yeah. So Leah here says, it's also good to seek friendships for the right reasons and not out of emotional voids. Super important. If sought that way, friendships will disappoint. Hay que aprender también a estar solo. It's important to learn how to be alone. That's a very valid point.
Yeah, don't go out there needy looking for friends. You know, you got to be okay with yourself, preferably with Jesus. You know?
Yeah, I mean, so this is something that we may not always say in every video, but it is the foundation of what we believe in. It's Jesus first. Jesus has to be your number one to then be able to receive everything else. If you don't have your identity in Christ, you're not going to be able to be the person that's able to go to be able to go and make friends.
But I will say, man, like, feeling alone,
it's tough.
Like,
it hurts.
Like, I could try to put myself in that situation, but I've never, like, truly felt like I had no one to go to. You know what I mean? I can't even imagine that. Like, that has to be a crazy place to be in. Like, nobody to turn to.
Well, you got to think about it, man. Like, you know, God has blessed, you know, a lot of people watching this now or watching it on, you know, on the after stream. But there's a lot of people, too, where they grow up where, you know, it could be just difficulty with, you know, relationship with their parents or with their siblings, you know, difficulty with the language aspect. There's so many different things that can cause a lot of this stuff not to happen. And so, again, if we're not centered in Christ, this is where a lot of these voids will come from. It's like when the Bible talks about the man that built his house on the rocks and the man that built his house on the sand. The guy that built it on the rocks had a good foundation. So even when the storms came, even when difficulties of life came, he was able to still stay and stand strong. While the guy that built his house on the sand when life came and hit him in the face, the storm came, everything crumbled apart. If your foundation's in the wrong place, everything else is going to fall apart.
Specifically Jesus, right?
Exactly.
Foundation Jesus.
Jesus is the first foundation.
So before we close, guys, a couple of verses here that I believe will be helpful for you guys. The first one is, and it's just going to encompass a lot of what we talked about, Proverbs 27:17. Iron sharpens iron, and one man sharpens the face of his his neighbor. Yeah. It's also universally seen as positive. Some view this as a maximum example of tough love. So, a friend is not a yes man, right? It's somebody that's going to hold you accountable, somebody that is going to walk life with you. And this is the example of this next verse, which is in Ecclesiastes 4:9-10. Two are better than one because they have a good return for their labor. If either of them falls down, one can help the other up, right? Yeah. So obviously that just means a friendship where the giving is mutual, right? If you fall, I'm going to help you up. If I fall, you help me up. And the last one, Andre, if you want to read that one.
All right, Proverbs 27:6. The kisses of an enemy may be profuse, but faithful are the wounds of a friend.
So this one's a little. Do you get what that means?
Bro, you need to put that in the NLT.
I don't even know what version that is.
No, but it makes sense.
Well, here's the King James version. Faithful are the wounds of a friend, but the kisses of the enemy are deceitful.
Yeah, that makes sense. Where it's like, an enemy is gonna try and butter you up. They're gonna try and paint everything in the best way that that you can understand it. But a friend that's hurt, you're gonna go try and be there with them. You're gonna try and console them through their pain.
Well, faithful are the wounds of a friend, meaning like I could say something tough to you, and it may hurt, but at the end of the day, it's for your own good. And I think
but still, that same idea. It's like you're able to hurt the person, but you're still gonna stay there with them after you hurt them, right? It's not like you're gonna go run away.
Yes, sir. That's me. I'm a little bit too tough with my.
We need it in this world, though. We need it.
Anyways, guys, so this is what we had for you today. Any parting words before we close?
Like, share, subscribe. If you feel like you were able to get something out of this, if you feel like you got a friend that needs to hear this message. Thank you for staying with
us up until this time.
Make sure, you guys put this out there. We like to talk about anime in the Bible, but we like to hit points too and just help people grow in Christ. So if you got a friend that needs to hear about the greatest of friends, Jesus, share it forward.
Amen to that. All right, guys.
Start it off. Start it. Come on.
You going?
I'll go with you. All
right, guys. This is all that we had for you today. And as always, just want to remind you that we must
persevere.
Peace.